So I watched Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse twice now, and I want to talk about something that you guys, being the highly intuitive audience that you are, probably noticed right out of the gate. And it's that this movie isn't about Miles Morales anymore. It's about Gwen Stacy. In fact, I would argue this is a Gwen Stacy movie, and Miles Morales functions more like a dilemma. But before all hell breaks loose down in the comment section, let me go ahead and explain what I actually mean. The very first thing that told me something was different is the way they started the movie. We spend a good amount of time on Gwen. We see her in her world after the events of Into the Spider-Verse. We learn about her past and what happens to her Peter Parker, who in her world is her best friend, but was constantly being bullied by Ned of all people. This version of Peter is different. He doesn't have spider powers, so wanting to get back at his bully, he turns himself into a version of the Spidey villain, Lizard. Present at the school dance, Spider-Gwen beats the giant monster. Of course, she doesn't know it's Peter at the time, and she ends up killing him, and what's worse, Spider-Woman, her actual superhero name here, gets the blame for Peter's death. His dad, George Stacy, taking a page from Harry Osborn's Book of Revenge, vows to avenge the death of his daughter's friend and goes on a hunt for Spider-Gwen, not knowing it's his own daughter under the mask. Short version is, she tells her dad about being the wanted Spider-Woman, but still he wants, or appears to want, to arrest her, and so Miguel O'Hara and Jess Drew, who popped up at this point, invite her to be a part of their Spider-Verse team. Giving up on her father, she goes with them. And you have to remember all the things that happened so far is the intro of the movie, so we still have a lot of things to cover. She mentors under Jess Drew, the inexplicably perpetually preggers Spider-Woman, so she can probably take the mantle at some point, and as part of the Spider-Verse squad, she goes on a couple of missions for a few months, and it just so happens there's a mission to Miles Morales' own universe. So she pops up to say hello and see how he's doing. Miles, who also happens to be the only person she has a connection to and actually understands her avalanche of emotions, was really glad to see her. By the way, all this time she knows who Miles really is. You know, the original Anomaly and all of that. So she struggles to tell him, and at the same time they have that will they, won't they kind of thing, but she resists because she needs to find herself first. Teenage yada yada, sadness, you know the gist. On top of that, she ends up messing up on her own mission there, and she goes off to correct her mistake because failure would mean she would end up back in her own universe, and she's still sad about that. So she asks Jess to give her a second chance and tracks down Spot, the thing she actually messed up the first time, but Miles comes in, who to be honest is more of a nuisance at this point and messes everything up. The villain gets away again. What's more, everything comes to a head when Miles learns, or more specifically told, the very thing that they were keeping from him and goes rogue from the self-proclaimed cannon keeper Miguel O'Hara, and of course his army of member berries. Miles was faced with the choice because, well, who would want to stand by and let a loved one go for the sake of canon? Gwen, realizing that Miguel is such a meanie head, rebels, but he beats her to the punch by sending her back to her own universe, while all the irresponsible parents watch from the sidelines. So having been forced back, she finally reconciles with her father in a very touching moment that is basically what the movie is all about, finding out who you are and people accepting your own truth, boiling it down to a single word: teenagers. But the genius of the film is that it parallels between two characters that have the same struggle. Miles and Gwen are undergoing the very same thing, but unlike Gwen, Miles didn't get his resolution. That's for the last film to conclude. As for this one, Gwen is the main hero here, and it's up to her to save Miles, who ended up in a different universe. The film ends like it started, with Gwen, this time leading all their friends to save Miles and giving the audience the proverbial blue balls, which may be the reason why a lot of people think this movie has a massive cliffhanger, but as far as Gwen's story is concerned, we've come full circle. But then again, that's just my opinion. Tell me what yours are down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out my review video for the movie as well. The movie's killing it in the box office. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.
I wish I knew.